I'm back with another book. It's a lovely bright day out there, so I've had to close the curtain because the sun's in my eyes. But this seems to be a nice time of day for me to read a story. I'm nice and awake. I'm not too tired. And I've been thinking a lot about the sort of stories that I want to read. I decided that the one I read yesterday probably wasn't the best idea because I just got angry about Donald Trump. So today, I've got a book. There's a cat scratching the door. I've got a book that I've had for, I think I got it in about 1995. When I first met my husband, when I was 18, I'd never really met anybody who used a wheelchair before. And the only things that I'd ever heard about were that if you broke your neck, then you would probably die, which used to be something that my mum used to say if I was sitting somewhere too high where she thought I might fall down. She'd be like, get down from there, you'll break your neck. So when I heard that there was somebody who had a broken neck at the place where I was working, I was like, oh, I didn't know that was a thing. So then when I met Ian, and he was lovely, I was like, oh, okay, that's not what I expected. And then the more I got to know him, the more I really liked him. And then the more I got to like him, the more worried I was about the future. So what I eventually did was I called a place called the Spinal Injuries Association, and I had a chat with a lovely woman there, and she was very, very reassuring. And I said that I wasn't sure about the future with Ian because I wanted to have children, and I wasn't sure whether that would be a thing that I could do. And she was very reassuring, and she sent me a lot of information. And in with the information as a gift, she sent me this book called Are We There Yet? I didn't ask for it, and I don't know what made her send me it, but it was lovely, and I've kept it ever since. Not just to remind me of what a beautiful gesture that was from a stranger, but also because it's a really interesting children's book for a few reasons, which I think you'll understand as we read it. So yes, I'm going to read Are We There Yet? I've not read it since I first got it, so it's going to be exciting for me too. So Are We There Yet by Verna, Allette, Wilkins, illustrated by George MacLeod and Lynn Wiley. Or maybe, no, I think it's Wiley. Excuse me. Here we are again. This is all the main characters, and well, he's not a main character, but yeah. Are you two nearly ready? Asked Dad. Yes, said Max. Nearly. Here's Max getting ready. Here's Dad making sandwiches. Down here. Where are we going? Amy wanted to know. It's a surprise, said Dad, and you'll need shoes, not slippers. Here's Amy getting her toys sorted. I think it's Max that's got slippers on his instead of shoes. Just trying to see the details. I think this is their lunch boxes. He's making a picnic to go somewhere. But Amy and Max don't know. It's a surprise. Let's go, said Max. Come on, Dad, said Amy. There he is putting his wheelchair into the car because he's going to drive off. Thanks for buying his new toys, Dad. I've called mine Stegosaurus, said Max. And mine's called Beetle, said Amy. We can't see Stegosaurus and Beetle, which is a shame. I think we see Beetle later, but I can't remember if we see Stegosaurus. we do? Are we there yet? Asked Max. I love his rosy cheeks. He's such a little angelic child. Not yet, said Dad. We've only just started. There's Dad driving the car. Why are the trees hurrying the other way? Asked Amy. She's looking at the trees. There's Dad driving. He's got really nicely observed hand controls here. I don't know if you've ever seen a car with hand controls. When I was working in the university where I met Ian, I worked with a lady called Wendy, and she had hand controls on her car. And sometimes I used to drive her car, and it was always fascinating how the hand controls worked the car, because Wendy had trouble moving her legs, and I tried to use them once and never again, because it was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. I felt I was just so nervous of not being able to use my feet, and obviously you should never drive the car with hand controls if you don't need to. She'd had special training for it, but I gave it a little go in a car park just to see what it was like, and it was so frightening. I just never ever did it again. I'm sorry if that's the first time I told you that, Wendy, if you watch this. But yeah, it gave me so much respect for hand controls. They are not easy. It's so counterintuitive. But I suppose if you learn to drive with that sort of car, it's just the normal, isn't it? But for me, I was like, what's this one do? How do I press? It's got like a lever that I seem to remember you did that with it, and it pressed down on the accelerator, and on the other side it pressed down with, I think if you pulled it, it pressed down the brake, and if you pushed it, it pressed down the accelerator. And then the other hand was like, there was no gear stick, obviously, it was automatic. And then we had a hand thing with like a spinny handle, so you could use the steering wheel with one hand. I did enjoy that. Anyway, sorry, just in case you don't know how people drive a car when they don't use their legs, I think it's quite interesting. Maybe they're having a surprise day out too, Dad replied. We should go back. Why are the trees hurrying the other way? Asked Amy. Maybe they're having a surprise day out too, Dad replied. Are we nearly there now? Beetle wants to know, said Amy. You see, her toy is called Beetle. Andy's a beetle. And his is called Stegosaurus. Andy's a Stegosaurus. I'm sure children would come up with more creative names than that, but maybe not. I don't have children. So perhaps that is what children would call their animals. My teddy was called Patrick, that I had when I was younger, but I named him after one of my mum's brothers. And then I got given a toy lion when I was in hospital, when I was about 8. And he was called Indy, after Indiana Jones. But he had like loads of middle names as well, and they were all my favourite people at the time. I think they were like, I don't know why I'm pretending I can't remember, because I can remember his whole name. It was Indy, Nick, Paul, Dan, Harrison, Ray, Sting. And that was Indiana Jones, Nick Kershaw, Paul Young, Dan Aykroyd, Harrison Ford, Ray Stantz from Ghostbusters, who Dan Aykroyd played, and then Sting. And they were my favourite stars in 1984 when I was 9. Okay, let's get back to the story. We're having a few little tangents today. We're nearly there now, said Dad. Wonder where they're going. It's got like it looks like it might be a circus. Oh, yes, said Amy. I can see our parking space. It's the disabled space in the background, but they never say disabled space. They just say it's our parking space. Dad bought some tickets. Have a lovely day, said the lady. There they go. Can we read it now? Oh, it says welcome. I think there are penguins on that sign. Come on, Dad, said Max. This is great. And Max got his lunchbox that we saw earlier. Wow, look over there, said Amy. That's too high for us, said Dad. These were also my favourite thing when I was little, were the curly slides. We've got quite a few pictures of me as a child going down those curly slides, sitting on those doormats. Does anyone know what I'm talking about when I say that? They were like little doormats that you put your feet into and went down the slides. You two can go for a car ride with Baby Bear. I'll follow you round. I'm driving, said Amy. It's your turn next, Max. There they are in a car with Baby Bear. Now here comes the water bus. We're off to the farm, said Amy. I'm not sure they are at a zoo. Well, it's a leisure park, it says on the back. It seems to have quite a lot of different things. I'm not sure what these outfits are. Do you think it's because they're are they waterproof? Is that what it is? It just remind me a bit of the Fifth Element or something. They just look quite odd. This lamb is really hungry, said Max. Oh, that's a nice lamb. Have you taken some of her woolly coat? Asked Amy. Oh, yes, I have. She'll grow lots more, said the lady. And they've shorn the sheep and she's spinning the wool to make yarn, I think, which she's telling Amy about. While Dad takes a photograph. She really looks like Mary Whitehouse, if anyone's old enough to remember who that is. They left the farm and hurried off to catch the train. A nice big blue train. All aboard, said the driver, and took off down the track. And the driver's there. He's just lifting the seat up so that Dad can get in his wheelchair. Is it lunchtime yet? Asked Max. I'm hungry. Can we sit with you? Asked Dad, and they shared a table. I think that's Dad talking to this family, but that's not clear in just the words. We're having a lovely surprise day out, Amy said to the baby. So are we, said the baby's mum. You see, he's sharing a table with this family here that's got a baby and a little boy. So they asked if they could share the table, which is nice. He's sharing his crisps over here. I like that bit. The crisps are called crackles. Not sure what sort of crisps they are. There was so much to do. They flew downhill on rails. They are going down in a roller coaster. Swished across the water. That's a log flume, I think, isn't it? Bounced round and round in a rapid river. Paddled and splashed until they were too warm. Dad's taking the opportunity there to just have a little read of his book rather than go in with them. Good plan, Dad. Must be hard work looking after them two on your own. Dad said, it's time to go home. Please, Dad, can we have some more rides? Just one, said Dad. Look at their little faces there. Oh, please. I'll lead you to the teacup ride, said Mr. Rabbit. There's Mr. Rabbit, looking friendly. Off they went, hopping and singing. I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Here's my handle, here's my spout. Oh, that's why they're doing this. I did wonder, as we were looking, why they got their arms out. I thought they were doing some sort of Egyptian dance. It was a great ride. There they are on the teacup. I think maybe it's like is it maybe he's a rabbit because Alice in Wonderland, do you think? Maybe that's why he's a rabbit, although there's no bears. Have you had a good day? Asked Dad. I'll get him back in the car. Yes, we have, thanks Dad. Can we come back again soon? They both said together. Luckily they've remembered their pets, because I was wondering where they were. We haven't seen them for a little while. Are we nearly home yet? Said Max. Beetle and Stegosaurus are really, really tired. We've only just left, smiled Dad. You can still see the park behind them in the window. How on earth would they be home yet? That's the end. Now, you probably spotted what I liked about that book. I really like books that have people with disabilities in them that aren't about the fact that they've got a disability. And there aren't many of them, which is why I really like this one and why it meant a lot to me. There is a little bit at the end that says, why is Max the name his dad in a wheelchair? His spinal cord was injured in an accident. The spinal cord works like a telephone cable, sending messages of movement and feeling to the brain. If the spinal cord is injured, these messages can't get through. The result is paralysis below the level of injury. Most people will need to use a wheelchair as a result of a spinal cord injury. So that explains why he's in a wheelchair, in very simple terms that I think most children would be able to understand. The Spinal Injuries Association is the national charity for people with spinal cord injuries. We offer support, information and advice to individuals and families on all aspects of living with spinal cord injury. Run by paralysed people, over 11 services are available. Excuse me. It will be a lot more than that now. This is 25 years ago. We believe it is important that all children have a positive image of family life and disability, and we are delighted to publish this book with Tamarind for the benefit of all young readers. There we go. Now there's definitely another one, which is a mother with a wheelchair, which she told me about. She sent me this one because it's a man and because Ian's a man, which I thought was very kind. And she did tell me that there was another one that is a mother. I don't know which one of these it is, and I have never been able to find it. I remember at the time trying to find it, and I couldn't. And I haven't been able to find this one either. I don't think the SIA make it anymore. But if you've got any recommendations for books like this that are about people with disabilities, where it's not explaining what the disability is, they just happen to be represented in it, that would be really helpful if you could just get in touch if you know of any picture books. I was looking for some earlier when I was thinking about what to do today, and I thought, oh, I'm going to read Are We There Yet? And I started thinking about other books that might have disabled characters in them. So yes, let me know if there are any. I'm particularly interested in people in wheelchairs, but I'd also like to see any disabilities. I'm sure there must be loads, but I don't know where to start. Basically, I'm going to have a Google. Okay, well, thank you for listening, and I hope that was a bit nicer than yesterday. I definitely feel a bit better than yesterday. Again, as always, stay safe, stay indoors, and let's see what happens tomorrow. It's very strange out there at the moment, but there's been so much outpouring of help for each other. It is really nice to see, so let's focus on those bits. Okay, bye.